Top of the morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us this morning again on Perspectives Unlimited on Wells Radio 89.3 FM, your preferred wholesome radio and your state number one family radio station. Perspectives Unlimited is your daily tonic where we definitely give you updates of stories and information making the rounds in our nation, Nigeria, across major Nigerian newspaper. Today is Friday, the 2nd of May, 2025. I hope you're well and you're doing just great this morning. It's Friday, the day after the public holiday. And I know that those in the private sector, nothing will stop you from being at work today. I can't say that entirely of those that work for the government. I'm not sure I can say that outrightly. If there's a public holiday on Thursday, somehow Friday seemed to be gone. But that's my opinion. I might be wrong. The day after May Day, Workers' Day, there are different conversations that we must bring to the front burner. I'm going to highlight some of them quickly and some reservation that I have as regards most especially those who work for the government. My name is Ayo Emmanuel Ojo. Welcome to the program this morning. We have the Punch newspaper today and of course the Guardian and the Nigerian Tribune. From the three dailies, we will go through the front pages and then of course bring you in-depth analysis on the flip side of the conversation. Remember, we're not talking alone. You at home also have the privilege and the opportunity to join the conversation, to share your own thoughts, views on nation building. You're not just talking, but you're contributing to your nation, our nation, Nigeria. Welcome to the program once again. Now let's start with the Punch newspaper. We start from page 30, which is the front page of the Punch for today. Political showdown looms over FBI's Tinubu file release. That story is on page 30. And on page 20, electricity subsidy spending balloons to 762 billion naira. On the same page 30, Wike Fubara to begin dialogue after Oshoba's mediation. Or mediation, I beg your pardon. Now moving on to page 2, federal government VCs under fire over 100 billion naira student loan controversy. That's on page 2 of the Punch. To the major story on page 2, May Day, Labour pushes for tax cut, pension overhaul in fresh 20-point demand. The writer says Tinubu governors pledge better deals for workers as NLC TUC insists on new demands. Photo story, we have the May Day celebration in Lagos State, in Ogun State, in Kaduna, and then in Cross River. Moving on, governors join workers to celebrate May Day in Lagos, Kaduna, and others. On page 19, AFDB launches $650 million yearly economic support for Nigeria. On page 4 and 5, 73 killed and 393 injured in Lagos Ibadan Express crashes in 3 months. And on page 30, Sports Festival arrested Ekiti athletes regain freedom. Let's move on to the Guardian newspaper. UBE Fund, Tinubu approves 5-year backlog for states on page 3. Pandemonium at Port Harcourt Refinery as EFCC quizzes acting MD on page 3. On page 7, Tinubu, Obasanjo and Yaku orders pay tribute to Ayu Adebanjo at service of songs. On page 6, agitation over cost of living crisis, workers' welfare on May Day. 2 million Nigerian children yet to be immunized, says UNICEF on page 9. Afrima 2025, Lagos ready to host Africa, Sanwo-Olu declares. On page 7, Ayedatiwa hinges development project on Tinubu's physical support for states. On page 9, Customs seizes 921 billion naira sex enhancement drugs and contrabands. On page 9. Moving on to page 6, which is the final story. Akwa Ibom Gov fuels defection speculations. calls PDP sport plane on 2027 flight. That's a lot. Sport plane. And then to our final daily for today. On the Nigerian Tribune, National Political Summit, NPSG inaugurate Daniel Tambuwa Awolowo-Dosunmu, others as the acting or as coordinating committee members. Anyako calls for functional constitution. Summit missions urgent for country's future stability. Nigeria must commit to reforms that deepen democracy, says Daniel, and we must adopt true federal constitution. 1999 constitution a challenge, says Awolowo-Dosunmu. On page 5, federal government summons VCs as ICPC probes student loan disbursement on page 5. The writer says ICPC says NEL fund disbursed only 44.2 billion naira out of 203.8 billion naira received to 293,178 students in 299 institutions. We're going to talk about that today. On page 6, Nigerians react to new SMS transaction fee amid growing discontent over banking charges. Umai issues stop work order on Shagamu Ikberu Road on page 27. I am not quitting PDP, Adeleke tells Osho Stakeholders Forum on page 5. And finally, May Day, that's not finally, I still have one more. May Day, Labour rejects tax reform bills, want retirement age to be 65, Gov orders hail workers on celebration. Phase 1, Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway, 70% completed, delivery January 2026. Is that a good news? On page 24, the phase 1 of the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway, 70% completed. That's all we can take on the front page this morning. Thank you once again for joining the conversation and for joining the program this morning on Wells Radio 89.3 FM, your preferred wholesome radio and your state #1 family radio station. Join the conversation this morning on our social media platforms. That's if you at any point in time need to turn off your radio, you can watch us live on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Wells Radio 893 FM fan page, and of course on our YouTube page, Wells Radio 89.3 FM. Good morning to you and thank you for joining us on the program.
One of the reasons why we accepted 70, we had a disagreement with the president. And he said, I will bring money. Ajero, people will travel to all West African countries and find out the cost of PMS. He said this, he was giving statistics. This country is sending 2,000 naira equivalent, this country 1,900 and whatever. If you allow me to increase, I'm ready to pay you people 250,000. And we said, we'll think over it. He said, no, I'm going to give you 1 hour or 2 hours. We said, no, we can't take decision in your office. We took an adjournment for 1 week. And when we consulted, we came back to him that would not be possible because we know the implication. And it was even going to worsen our condition. It was on that basis because the negotiation ended at 62,000. All the state governors say they can't pay a dime above 62,000. All the private sector say they can't pay a dime. It was then we settled for 70,000 naira. We believe and understanding that the pump price will no longer be increased. So when we went back less than 2 months, they increased the pump price of petroleum product, which immediately affected the 70,000. And then the flotation of the currency was another factor. So all their decisions of late has eroded the amount. However, even the problem now is not even paying us 1 million. If you pay us 1 million, with the rate of inflation, with the rate the economy is going, it will not be enough. So I think what we need to do now is to check the currency, stabilize the currency. Now, we equally agree for CNG buses. Now, you gave us some CNG buses to operate, and we are still using it to PMS. If we had accepted the CNG technology very well, transportation would have crashed as of today. Even the cash transfer, we agree with them. And then with the agreement that the refineries will work in the first instance. So all these agreements, we went into them believing that if you aggregate them together, the 70,000 will be enough. But as we talk today, almost a year after, none has happened.
You see, let me say this from the bottom of my heart, not because I'm the minister today, but there has never been a time when any government in this country has ever raised the take-home pay of workers like what President Bola Ahmed Tinubu did. He raised it from 30,000 naira to 70,000 naira. And we have never had that record in the history of workers in this country.
What a good way to start a conversation this morning. Thank you once again for joining us on 89.3 FM. If you're ready, then we're set to take you through all of them. The day after May Day, the 1st of May, yesterday, Workers' Day. And before I bring in my analyst, I shared at first, I said I have reservation, especially for those in the civil service, both in the state, federal, local, anybody that works for the government. Today is Friday, the day after a public holiday. And I'm sure when you get to some of the offices today, you can be very sure what you're going to get. And in between all of this, the conversation of the government not matching up to a lot of expectation as regards payment is on the table. And on the flip side, look at those in the private sector. What excuse have you that you're not going to resume work today? It must be tenable, sometimes backed up with, if it's medical, reasonable evidence, to show for it that you won't be at work. And I think that while we speak for May Day, staff remuneration and all of that, I think we must also talk about that. The other day I was going to, see someone on a very critical issue really in one of the government offices at about 3 p.m. only for the woman to say, I've closed for the day. And I said, at 3? You're closing for the day at 3 and you work for the government. Please, if you want to see me, ensure you come between 9 o'clock and 1 in the afternoon, only to get there at 9 o'clock. And she's still not on seat to walk in and spend the next 30 minutes taking breakfast and then speaking to you as though they are doing you a favor when they are only doing their job. We should talk about that too. So when we talk about the government, we should talk about the staff too. Welcome to the program. Our analyst joins us in the studio this morning to help us make sense of all of the stories. Mr. Olali Kosani, good morning.
Good morning, Chief.
Good morning. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How about you?
Happy May Day. Well, in arrears, yes, but it's the day after.
Yes.
And through the weekend, and I'm sure the first 2 days of the new week, next week, stories around May Day.
Yes.
We'll still be,
welfare.
we'll still be all over the place. Response, the Honorable Minister spoke, and I'm sure Festus Osifo already gave a response to that. And we're going to continue to have that back and forth to the middle of next week. That's how it works here. Labor Day. Labor pushes for tax code, pension overhaul in fresh 20-point demand. That's the fresh story. And of course, the new revelation as regards the surcharge or deductions made by universities around the student loan. The Guardian newspaper gave us that revelation sometimes, I think on Monday. And they're looking at the university and one even charging as high as 35,000 naira. This is a loan. These people will pay back. The conversation of is the school
designed to be interest-free.
And is the school also in a position to make refunds? Is the school not supposed to exactly receive what they should receive? Well, NEL fund credits, the student with whatever balance, whether 3,000, whether 2,000. After all, it is a loan, and you're going to pay back. Is the school in a position to make refunds? That's another conversation. ICPC is already stepping in on this one, and we're saying that NEL fund only disbursed 42.2 billion naira out of 203.8 billion naira. Where did the remaining go? That's a lot of money. That story is on the Tribune this morning. But May Day, we start with that. The organized labor on Thursday presented a 20-point demand to the federal government as Nigerian workers commemorated the 2025 May Day at Eagle Square in Abuja and across the country. Among other things, the Nigeria Labour Congress and Trade Union Congress asked for tax cut, better retirement package, reversal of emergency declaration in Rivers State, salary adjustment, withdrawal of the tax bills, reduction of telecommunication coal tariff from 50% to 35%, an upward review of retirement age to 65% for all categories of civil servant. The national president of NLC, Joe Ajaero, presented the demand during the event in Abuja, making a case for better treatment of Nigerian workers. The NLC leader said it is imperative to extend their retirement age from 65 years of 40 years of service currently enjoyed by health, teachers, professionals, and judges to all public servants. In 2023, Ajaero told the Punch that the NLC would dialogue with the president on the matter. You listened to the voice of Joe Ajaero before we started the conversation, and of course, did a backtrack to the acceptance of 70,000 naira, and now how 70,000 naira is not even tenable anymore. I will let you weigh in on this conversation, and of course, some of the things that they are asking for: retirement package, declaration, emergency declaration in River State, which is a reversal, another salary adjustment, withdrawal of the tax bill, reduction of telecommunication tariff, and so on and so forth. And most importantly, 65 years of age. That I personally think if you're 65 years old, you should have retired, say, at 60 years. And I think 65 is a long time. Okay, let me let you come in here. It's a lot.
Thank you very much. The truth of the matter is that our workers are not having the best of time. And it's as a result of the fact that their purchasing power is terribly low. The government is making a mistake by saying 70,000 naira, 70,000 naira, 70,000 naira every day, as if that means heaven. It doesn't mean much. The minister actually told a lie then when he said that workers have never had it so good by moving the salary from a minimum wage from 30,000 to 70,000. I can tell you that Goodluck Jonathan did better than that. He moved it from 7,500 to 18,000 naira. The percentage increase is higher than what they just did. So that's a lie. Thankfully, the unions are now beginning to understand that it's not about the number of zeros in their minimum wage. It's about whatever they are getting can do that matters. And now they are not really talking about an upward review of the minimum wage. Rather, they are talking about how to strengthen the naira and how to reduce the price of the pump price of petroleum products and, of course, the cost of energy. These are the factors that are actually depleting whatever you have in your account right now. We are buying a bag of rice to the rate of, upwards of 70K. That to me is a crime against the people of Nigeria. Imagine collecting 40,000 naira and you are using 6,000 naira to buy a bag of rice. You are going to do well for that month because, almost certainly, unless you have a very large family, you're not going to finish that bag of rice in that one. Sometimes it's 3 months before you exhaust the bag of rice. So for the next 2-3 months, you have money to spend on other things. But today, right now, a bag of rice is 70K. Minimum wage is 70K. Minimum wage that they are not even paying completely is 70K. How exactly do you want to survive? It's not making sense. It cannot make sense if things continue to go like this. Now they are saying that, power, everybody's going to Bande. For those in Bande already, they are paying 209 per kilowatt. How exactly do you want to survive with 70 naira and you have to pay 209 for a kilowatt of power? Telecom tariffs have gone up. banking charges have gone up. These are the things we are talking about. The government keeps depleting the purchasing power of Nigerians by creating a lot of avenues by which the government is collecting money from the people without necessarily giving the people anything in return. I mean, let's be frank here. In all seriousness, the government can do better than 70,000 naira. I will not be the one to stand here and support the government, be it the state or federal government, should they say they cannot pay anything upwards of 70K. But I wouldn't go that line because for two reasons. Number one is that private entrepreneurs are actually having a hard time right now. That's number one. Number two is that increasing the minimum wage without necessarily strengthening the value of the currency is a very big way to further drive the rate of inflation up, and that is not what we should be talking about. But let's talk about what is coming into the pockets of the government, and this particular administration, and let's place it side by side with what the immediate past administration was receiving. The immediate past administration was receiving a quarter of what this administration is receiving from the sale of crude oil because the value of the naira has quadrupled. For the sake of this analysis, for every $100 million worth of crude sold under Muhammadu Buhari, the country was receiving for $100 million, we were receiving something around 46 billion naira. But as of today, it's 160 billion naira. You can see the difference. It's huge. It is huge. Talk of what's it called? What is coming from the tax angle, FIRS. A lot of money that the FIRS rakes in comes in from VAT. And VAT is basically consumption tax, what you are paying to enjoy a particular product or service. Take, for instance, medication. Any medication that was going for 500 naira before is now going for 3,000 naira. Yes, the charge, the percentage still remains the same percentage they were collecting there, but 7.5% of 500 naira and 7.5% of 3,000 naira. You can see that it's going to be 6 folds of whatever the previous administration was collecting. That's that. Let's look at the import duty tariff. It used to be 451. Today it's around 1,600. You can see that we're talking about almost 4 folds. And is there anything on the ground to justify that? Instead, it's more tariffs. The banks are declaring profits already.
Right.
First quarter profit. And the figures are astronomical.
Even in the midst of
hardship. Profit after tax, 200 billion, 180 billion for just the first quarter. Why is that happening? It is happening because the interest rate has been jacked up criminally against the working class of this country. And that is what all of us are talking about. How much exactly is salary right now? If you want to do anything tangible, you may be looking towards borrowing from the banks. If you are borrowing from the banks, you are going to pay through your nose to repay them, because every day Yemi Cardoso keeps pushing the interest rate, and that is why the banks are declaring huge profits. And the federal government is complicit in all of this because they are collecting no bank individually got what the federal government got up to what the federal government got from the banking sector last year, simply because the federal government is taxing 30% of what all of them are declaring, and that is higher than the individual net profit of each and every one. Each of them, and that is a crime against the people of Nigeria. Why can't we bring down the interest rate so that more people can participate in the economic process? If you want to start, let's say, a pure water factory right now, chances are very high that you have to borrow money to do that. But if you go to the banks and they tell you that, okay, all in all, you're talking about 40% interest rates, you may be put off. Because now begin to wonder, what exactly is the assurance that you are going to break even? Not to talk of getting extra 40% to pay. And of course, you'd have to make some things for yourself as well. You have a family to take care of. That is where a lot of people are pulling back. A lot of farms are shutting down. And farming is actually a bit, it could be capital intensive, but if farms are shutting down, can you give a thought to what is happening to manufacturers? It's worse there. And that is what we are talking about. Instead of choking the system up and creating a fish eat fish system, why not relax things a little bit and let everybody thrive without much effort? That is what some of us are talking about. You read a headline which I don't agree with. They said electricity subsidy has ballooned to 700 billion. That's a very big fat and tall lie. Rather, it is a reduction. Over the years, it has always been 1.52 trillion. But because they are pushing a lot of people to ban, hey, what the government is spending in that area is dropping from around 2 billion to 700 billion. That is a 1.3 trillion naira reduction. And where exactly is the money? Nobody knows.
All right.
That is the biggest problem. If you are spending so much money, if you are raking in so much money and, you're asking us to cough out so much money and we see what you are spending the money on, we may not totally be hungry, but everywhere is practically down. And every day you think of, I was in one of the banks, at the ATM point a couple of days ago. I wanted to withdraw a fairly large amount of money. And for every transaction, 100 naira, 750 kobo per transaction.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
In this same Nigeria.
In this same Nigeria.
Let's take a break. All right, we'll take a break right now. And when we come back, right after the break, I wanted to talk about retirement. What NLC is asking for, the 65 years, years, or I think 30 years now of service.
They're asking for 40 years.
They're asking for 40 years, yes, from 30 to 40, and then from 35 to 40, and then 60 to 65. We'll talk about that when we come back right after the break. Stay with us.
The Financial Services Regulation Coordinating Committee, FSRCC, in collaboration with the National Broadcasting Commission, NBC, wishes to draw the attention of the public to the activities of illegal financial operators, IFOs, which threaten public trust and the stability of the Nigerian financial system. The general public is hereby advised to refrain from dealing with unlicensed financial operators who deceive individuals with unrealistically high investment returns. Verify the licensing status of such schemes on this website: www.cbn.gov.ng, www.nicom.gov.ng, www.pencom.gov.ng, www.sec.gov.ng, www.fsrcc.gov.ng. To report any suspicions of illicit financial activities, call CBN 0817-665-7060, 0707-338-4828, SEC 0209-462-1168. Announcer, FSRCC.
Boost your business with Wells Radio 89.3 FM. In a competitive world of business, strategic brand and product positioning is key to growth. Don't remain unseen in the shadows. Shine a spotlight on your brand with Wells Radio 89.3 FM today. Why Wells Radio? We are your state's #1 family radio station. We connect with the heart of families in your state. As the smallest unit of the society, families trust Wells Radio for quality content and information. Visit us today along Alafin Avenue, Oluyole Estate, Ibadan. Our white and blue building just before Sharp Corner ensures your business won't go unnoticed. Advertise with us today. Call our marketing office on 0903-936-8185. Call Toby on 0803-509-3394. Yomi on 0706-616-5053. Take the leap today. Let Wells Radio 89.3 FM be the megaphone for your business success. You won't regret it.
Yo, what's up?
Baby, let's go.
Hey there! Want to stay connected to your favorite radio station? Follow us on social media for the latest updates, entertaining wholesome content, and behind-the-scene peaks. We're on Instagram at Wells Radio 893, Facebook Wells Radio 893 FM fan page, X Wells Radio 893. Follow our WhatsApp channel Wells Radio 89.3 FM. Get a scoop on upcoming shows, giveaways, and events. Also get to interact with your favorite presenters and share your thoughts on our posts and stories. Join the conversation and stay tuned into Wells Radio 89.3 FM, your preferred wholesome radio.
Wells Radio 89.3 FM, your preferred wholesome radio.
It has, when a worker gets to maybe 30 years of service or whatever, he has become a kind of authority in that area. And that was what they considered in areas that is knowledge based, either for lecturers, either for teachers and others. And then we have equally looked at even the rate of unemployment, in the country, and even this wage we are talking of. Even when people are living, they were not even prepared to live. There is no transition area. Even the issue of pension, which led to the issue of 35 years of age, service, and 60 years of age. That pension is not guaranteed now. What we now have is a kind of contributory pension, which is AJO. Now, as we are talking now, you have reviewed wage. Ordinary pension should be reviewed for those on the defined pension scheme. Should be reviewed. But under contributory pension is what you contributed that they will give you. Right. So it doesn't take into consideration the inflation, that is happening now. So if it was calculated and yours is 10,000, you collect every month under the contributory pension, that's what they will pay you. So you can see that even some people left the transition without serving for about 10 years. So they have contributed little or nothing.
Welcome back to the program Perspectives Unlimited on Wells Radio 89.3 FM. Studio lines to call this morning 0916 893 1000, 0916 893 2000, and 0915 333 893. 0916 893 1000, 0916 893 2000, and 0915 333 893. 70,000 naira minimum wage. The reality of what 70,000 naira can buy in the nation. NLC is already complaining again, even though they agreed to 70,000 naira. But from the first voice of Joe Ajaero that would put out there, this is not the agreement. Just shortly after they agreed to 70,000 naira, that the price of PMS moved up. Not once, not twice. But let's talk about the retirement age. 60 to 65. What's your view on that? 65 years old. Let me get your opinion.
Thank you, Chief.
Yeah.
Different folks, different strokes. In developed worlds of Europe.
All right. Let's take this call. Hello. Good morning.
Hello, good morning, sir.
Yes, good morning to you. Your name and where you're calling us from?
Ruth calling from Malacca.
All right, Ruth, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, sir. Now, as regards the NLC at AUC demand, it's high time they do the needful by putting this government on their toes to do the right thing. Because Nigeria has been a consuming nation, which is why inflation keeps rising. And nothing can be done to address it unless our government embrace local production and agriculture. So, which is why no amount of wage can be enough for a common worker in Nigeria of today. So even if both federal and governors agree to increase the minimum wage, it will still be enough. But the government should work on stabilizing our economy. That's how we can get it right. But no, they won't do the needful. It's not that we are Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Thank you so much, Ruth. Thank you for calling us.
Go to America today, go to Spain, Portugal. The constant battle between the unions and the government is how to further reduce the number of years you must spend in service. They want to go home early. And the reason for that is that they are sure of their future. You know, the benefits there are huge. Take, for instance, in the UK, in the UK, for example, if you're over 60, you are not going to pay for transportation. The benefit checks keep flying in almost on a weekly basis, and there are a lot of benefits for you. The council is not going to collect a lot of taxes from you, but yeah.
Let's take this call in. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning. Your name and where you're calling
Hello.
from. Hello, good morning. We can hear you.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Your name?
This is Aderonke from Muslim.
All right, Aderonke. Good morning.
Concerning labor push for tax cut, pension, and pensioners. Yeah, though it's a good one coming from the Nigerian Labour Congress. I would just urge the federal government to please try and yield to the yearnings of the Nigerian Labour Congress. And besides, they should try and cut the rate at which they deduct their tax. And for the pensioners, these people are retired already, and and they have their old age. So we expected the government to treat them more better after 35 years of service of humanity to the country. So just take a look at here in your state, our governor are treating the pensioners in the state by paying them their gratitude. Even every 27th of the month, they are being paid their pension years, so which is a good one. So I just thought the federal government to emulate the style of governance in your state by treating the pensioners well. That's my take.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for your call.
Let me go back to the UK. Healthcare is almost free for everybody, but once you clock 60, they are very, very intentional about it. It's free for you in all areas, but here, I mean, the reverse is the case. You feed yourself, you pay accommodation, should you fall sick,
and even at 65, you still want to work.
And the reason for that is because they are not sure of the future. That is it. Sensible administrations across the world have found a way to ensure that their workers are going to be taken care of for the rest of their time. But here,
it's a different conversation. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, EY.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Gbenga. Good morning to you.
Mr. Tony.
Morning, sir.
This is Gbenga Mario.
Good morning. Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
All right, thank you. Now, I want to talk about the agony and pain of Nigerian workers. We have a body called NSC and CUC who are working for they are working to better the lives of the workers. Now, some of the affiliate unions under those two bodies, I think they are not having it robust. We are having an LSC and CUC that are not working to ensure that we workers, I'm talking about the downliners of the workers under CUC and the affiliate union now. They are not working to ensure that we have a better welfare. When last have you seen an NSC going for strike because on the interest of the workers? When last does the NSC go on strike on issues related to masses of Nigerian masses that will better their lot? We have increase in electricity tariffs. Data free is there. Look at what AY said some few weeks ago. He told us how much he spent on data on a daily basis, and the thing went on and on like that, and nobody is doing anything. NSC are not doing anything. So how sure are we that they are fighting on the interest of the workers and the entire Nigerian masses at large? So this is a client call to them to wake up from their slumber and do a needful such that going to better the lot of the workers and the lot of the Nigerian masses. No wonder Nigerian workers are clamoring for 55 years old retirement age. It is because, like what Mr. Tony said, that the fear of unknown. Because some of them, I met a colleague last week. He was telling me that he will be retiring very soon, and he's telling me that there's nothing you fall back on. And I said, wow, after spending 5 years, there's nothing you could fall back on. I said, you better do the needful before the time goes away. So that is the reason why the workers are taking for extension of the years of service. Just that. And finally, on the edge, on the issue of legislation and retirees welfare, I think I give it to Governor Imakele. Yes, my mother is retiring, and I'm telling you, even before I get my salary, my mother got to get her. It is in Ibadan here, and kudos to her. So any governor or any government that prioritize the interest of the retired workforce, I'm praying for them that God will help them at their old age. They will not be stranded in Jesus' name. And now extending that to those that are still working, that are still at the work, that are still working. Please let the government as well prioritize their interest. I want to see a government that will give a kind of confidence allowance. Let there be some several allowances that bring us to workers. Because once you are able to make the workers much more happy, they need to give in their best. Look at what AY said. That he said he went to meet a woman, and the woman said, if you come by 3, you can't get meeting in the office. Who does that? When you're working for a government, the minimum time is the maximum time for you to is 4 p.m. So why is it closing by 3 p.m.? So I think government should also lend their task force to ensure that we have a body that is called monitoring and evaluation department in some of the government establishments. They will go to government agency offices to see and checkmate who are those that are not working, who are those that are resuming to work lately, who are those that are closing earlier before the schedule time. I think those bodies should be agile enough to handle the little and ensure that the money you are collecting, you are actually doing the end research to the government. That is what we want. And I pray that we will all workers across the board, across the country, that God will share our life to see many more years in Jesus' name. And lastly, before I drop, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. We are with you, Mr.
Yes,
Benga.
I want our journalists, yes, I want the government as well to please look at the side of our journalists. Journal workers, they barely observe any free holidays. Because you only see them at the studio, you only see them covering live events, even at some public holidays that they're supposed to benefit from as well. So let journalists as let government give them some severe allowances that will make them much more happy. Because yes, they talk about were at home, but those journalists, they are at work. So let government look into that as well and ensure that our journalists are given a very good response. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Benga. Thank you so much for your time, and if not for anything to say thank you, at least for speaking up for journalists, whether in the print or in the broadcast. But that's the life that we chose, really. We love it like this, but I mean, it can get better too. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So the point is this.
Oh, we have another call on the line. It's Perspective Unlimited anyways. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Oh, we lost that call. Please do call us back.
People who are still in service are literally living from hand to mouth every month. I mean, talk to them, second week of the month, they're already broke. I mean, how exactly do you think they would want to go home early? Go to do what?
To do what?
That's exactly the problem. If the government can assure these people of a decent future, a decent post-service future, I can bet it with you, a lot of them would want to retire at the age of 40. Nobody wants to walk to their grave. But the truth of the matter is that...
Okay, let's take this call. Hello, good morning. Hello. Oh, we lost that call. 2 callers back.
The truth of the matter is that the government needs to do better. This is, I mean, for people who know how to reflect on issues, it's a clear indication that post-service years of those who have left active service are not totally shiny. If the years are shiny, of course, people would want to rush into retirement, like, oh, I want to be like this person. But you can see 1 or 2 people who retired just last year asking you for Gen2K.
Yes, that's a common thing now. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Oh, the network. Please use the other line, 0915 333 893. 0915 333 893.
It's not as if they enjoy the 8 to 5 schedule. It's just about survival for them. So if the government wants them to go home early, all the government needs to do is to ensure that their post-service life is going to be fantastic.
Going to be fine. We'll take the second story for this morning, but let's take this call. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, West Radio.
All right, good morning. Mr. George, good morning to you.
Yes, this is George from Ologuero.
Good morning.
You see, listening to all our conversations, promises these years. One thing which I noticed is that most of the promises that the government is giving to NLC, they are not being implemented. If some of them are really being implemented, the demands that NLC is giving now will not be there. All the promises. Look at the issue of transportation, the CNG buses and so on. None of them have been fulfilled. Is the government really ready to listen to these people concerning the plight of the masses? They are not doing it. That is just the problem. We are discussing again now. We may spend another 1 or 2 years, and we are still in the same spot. And you said they should not ask for anything. How do you want them to continue to live on the same position continuously? And every day you are increasing the things you promise you will never increase. You increase you increase it, and you are not even fulfilling the ones you promise you are going to fulfill. That's the problem we are having in this country. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. George. I take this comment and then we take the story about the student loan. Good morning and lovely Friday. At a time when youth empowerment or unemployment, I beg your pardon, is alarming, the labor movement push for a higher retirement age. Okay, let's take this call. Hello, good morning to you.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. That's Miriam, I believe.
Yes, this
All
is
right.
Miriam.
Miriam, good morning. Good morning, Miriam.
Yes, depriving the workers of their entitlement is an act of wickedness. And considering the current economy in Nigeria, workers should be treated as kings because they are the major contributors to this economy. Anyways, I urge the federal government to cut the cost of governance and channel the resources into the right path. And lastly, the governors that are not even doing up to expectations should work up to others that are paying on time, the likes of William and some of them, to ask of the way forward, because they really cannot continue like this. These workers are trying their best, and I pray the Lord will lead our leaders.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Miriam. Thank you for your call. Sulaiman Sharif says, good morning. At a time when youth unemployment is alarming, the labor movement push for a higher retirement age is proving to be an unpopular proposition. It is glaring the hardship in the country is more than ever before due to bad APC policy. Nigerians have never had it so terrible like this before. This is chronic poverty everywhere. Let's talk about the student loan. The Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, has commenced a comprehensive investigation into alleged discrepancies surrounding the disbursement of student loans under the Nigeria Education Loan Fund. The commission said its preliminary findings revealed that while the federal government released 100 billion naira for the scheme, only 28.8 billion was disbursed to students, leaving 71.2 unaccounted for. And worried about the development, the National Association of Nigerian Students vowed to protest the alleged discrepancy. The NOA had alleged that certain schools, conniving with some banks, delayed payment of students who qualify for the loan so they could make money off the situation. In between all of that, we also got reports of some unauthorized deduction ranging from 30,500 to 30,000 naira from students who received fees from the loan. Let me get your reaction here.
It's a complex web of corruption. Let's start from the president's. Let's start from Neo Fund. Neo Fund has given us at least 3 conflicting figures. Earlier in the year, January to be precise, they said that they had disbursed, as of then, 114 billion. February 1, the president, speaking through somebody in the Ministry of Education, said his administration, as of then, had disbursed 114 billion or thereabout. Then again, Neo Fund said, it's just 44 billion. Then Neo Fund told us again, it's 100 and something billion. What exactly are we talking about here? That's that. There is this delay. I don't know if it's intentional or it's as a result of a technical glitch or anything of that nature. Nelfund will tell you that, oh, they have approved your loan request, but the school will tell you that they have not received it. And I understand that this private dashboard that you can actually
see.
To go through your request and what have you. Schools will tell you that, okay, the duration of the time you are going to be given to pay fees is going to expire in 2 days. So a lot of people who have applied for the loan but have yet to receive a response will rush up to pay so that they won't forfeit
this year.
That is where the issue of refund is coming from the schools. So when the money comes in eventually, where is the money? I've paid you
and that's the question of who is supposed to? Is the school authorized? Do schools have the power?
What Nelfund is saying is that they have released the money to the school. So it's no longer within their jurisdiction to say anything over that particular amount of money. So what the school is going to say is that write a letter requesting for your refund. Then we give it to you. But there are two things. Number one is that on the dashboard, people that, let's say, Nelfund is giving 100,000 naira. When you look at the dashboard and you look at how much you are owing Nelfund, you see 125,000 naira there.
Where is the 25,000?
That is not coming from the school.
That's coming from
Nelfund. So something that's designed to be called, something that is designed as an interest-free.
So where's 25 coming from?
Where exactly is 25,000 naira coming from? That's on one side. People who are asking for a refund, by the time they get the refund, it's 3,000 naira short. It's 35,000 naira in some instances. And people are now beginning to ask questions. What exactly is happening? ICPC came out openly yesterday to say, okay, they have been able to track hundreds of billions to that particular agency of government. But from their own calculation, the agency has only disbursed a little bit above 28 billion naira. That they are keeping 71.2 billion naira that they have not yet accounted for. And that is a lot of money. We're talking about almost 3/4 of the total money. And something is striking me here. And that's where I'm actually attacking the president. That's what is making me attack the president here. VCs have been accused of graft. Some people in the process have also been accused of graft. And as reported by The Guardian of yesterday, they said the presidency is threatening to take it up. What exactly does that mean? Even if it is a kobo, you shouldn't threaten. You should investigate and act. But here they are threatening. That strikes me as an exercise of the jaw. You want to be seen as actually being against what they are doing, but in reality, you are not against it. Because if you are truly against it, you take a decisive action almost immediately. And minding the fact that the presidency, in fact, the president has also joined in dishing out fraudulent figures. I think we already have an idea of where the whole thing is coming from, and so people are just building on top of the mess. That's what I can say here.
Let's take a comment. There's another comment here on Facebook. Buluwatife Ademijuwon says, "Good morning. The current administration in Nigeria has faced criticism of its policies, some which argue that have contributed to the country's challenges and increased hardship. To move forward, it's crucial for the federal government to explore comprehensive measures that can drive prosperity and improve the lives of Nigerians." Thank you so much, Buluwatife Ademijuwon, on our Facebook page. Time will not permit us to go beyond this, but I wanted to comment on this one before we go. Nigerians react to new SMS transaction fee amid growing discontent over banking charges from 4 naira to 6 naira.
The truth of the matter is that I see graft here. There's something called bulk SMS, such that at the end of the day, you are not going to pay the telcos provider more than 10% of the actual figure. So why they are charging 6 naira for this is what I don't understand. But there is a backdoor. There is a way you can go around this. Go to your bank, tell them not to send SMS to everybody. Almost everybody has an Android phone right now.
I mean,
so
yeah.
receive
you
emails instead of SMS.
Of SMS.
And you are going
I
to
just
be
hope
sure.
someday we don't get email charges too.
You never can tell. You just never can tell.
You never can tell.
At this rate, you never can tell.
Thank you so much.
It is always an honor.
Thank you for your time. All right, that's all we can take this morning on Perspectives Unlimited. Call your vendor or go online to read stories and different situation in Nigeria published across major dailies today, the 2nd of May, 2025, the day after the 1st of May, May Day in Nigeria. Let's get to work. Let's do it diligently. Let's do it with all that we have. Like I said, I have reservation for those who work with the government as regards punctuality, commitment to work. Sometimes they do it as though they are doing you a favor. Files are missing, documents are not in view, and then you have to come back and come back and come back. Can you try that in the private? Definitely, it's a big no. Let's do it well, all right? Let's do it well and be the best version of ourselves. So if we complain about the government, then let's fix ourselves too. My name is Ayo Emmanuel Ojo. Thank God it is Friday. Up next is EM Sport. Lizette Femi Loyade is in the studio. Good morning.